I just was at a thesis defense for a pediatrician who I encouraged him to write on pediatric ethics, some specific dilemma within pediatric ethics. Instead, he wrote this long crisis of faith document of metaphysical, metaethical, epistemological inquiry for a Christian. So my main role, my academic role that pays my bills is with the Ohio State University College of Medicine, where I'm the director for the Ohio State University Center for Bioethics and Medical Humanities. And we have a very large ethics program. We teach around 1,000 undergraduates a year and around 90 graduate students. So we engage many, many students. And in that secular ethics, one of my roles is to have an honest debate, to have an honest education that teaches about the field. Also, I hope to create kind of a safe space for people of faith, that many of the disagreements and controversies that we have in our culture are really undergirded by disagreement in faith. The God question is the question, and if we're going to try to do ethical dilemmas and controversy with ignoring that, then we're not being honest, just scholars or educators. So, and I think over the last 12 years, I think I've created a good space for that dialogue. And then with students and with other faculty and staff, and even patients, I think one of my roles is to encourage them to ask the right questions, to challenge them why they believe what they believe, to take them down that infinite regress, or point out the tautologies in their logic. And that perhaps, and everyone knows that I'm an Orthodox Christian, so that's always open to conversation. I don't talk about it much unless I'm asked, but everyone knows I am. That's always shared. I share my bias. I point out that the theorist, the ethicist who doesn't share their position is either trying to sell them something or they're just being dishonest. We all have our way that we think is right. And I'm just willing to make that more explicit. So within the secular academy, it's encouraging students and others to ask the right questions. And sometimes that happens. And some can go on quite a long journey. We have some graduate students that I always encourage them to write a thesis on something they know. With a master's program is very short, so to something that's a great curiosity, but they want to know more, but something they already know. I just was at a thesis defense for a pediatrician who I encouraged him to write on pediatric ethics, some specific dilemma within pediatric ethics. Instead, he wrote this long crisis of faith document of metaphysical, metaethical, epistemological inquiry for a Christian, because he in our program had a crisis of faith. Why do I believe? Where do I fit in this Christian world? And how do I practice as a pediatrician? How do I think of ethics? And we have several students that do that actually start asking the right questions and start doing some very good positive work. I've had the joy of being forced into teaching at St. Tikhon's Orthodox Theological Seminary. Forced being, I had an archbishop said, "Will you do this?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And it's been an absolute joy. It's my favorite time of the year, is the few weeks that I spend at St. Tikhon's teaching. And I think part of the reason that's such a joy is those students are already asking the right questions. And I'm able to engage in far more depth into what our holy faith, I think, teaches about the way that we should live life, and encourage and guide those who are asking for our help.